Hey, my name is Christopher Smith, and I'm a personal injury lawyer here in Nashville, Tennessee with DRS Law. And today we wanted to answer a simple question, which is, what is a personal injury lawyer? So fundamentally, it's pretty simple. A personal injury lawyer is just an attorney who represents injured people suing the wrongdoers that caused the injuries. So common examples of that are transportation accidents, right? You'll see billboards and TV commercials for motor vehicle accidents, whether it's car wrecks, trucking accidents, motorcycle accidents, bicycle accidents, anything like that. That's a typical personal injury, simplest personal injury case that we could possibly describe. So it can take more complex forms though, and there can be more complex defendants. So let me give you an example. In the car wreck case, somebody runs a red light. It's pretty obvious you're going to sue the person who ran the red light. But you might also have a claim against the engineering firm that designed the roadway, or possibly the governmental entity responsible for maintaining the roadway in a safe condition. So brainstorming broader claims is something that a good personal injury lawyer will do. And beyond just like the one defendant who runs the red light, who's a private individual, potential wrongdoers or defendants in personal injury actions could include governmental entities in civil rights cases, police officers, could include corporations, landlords, businesses, medical device companies, products liability cases against products manufacturers. It's a broad sort of umbrella to say you're a personal injury lawyer. And so the specialties within that can be very broad, can be very different. So what does a personal injury lawyer do? Well, I can walk you through the anatomy of one of our cases and kind of how that would play out in the typical case. So the first thing we would do is investigate your case, right? Get all the documents, all the evidence, all the records, medical records, bills, lost wages claims. If you've got that, we get the documentation for that. If there's video evidence, we'll get that. And kind of brainstorm, what are all the possible claims that you could bring and who can you bring them against? Because that's often the trickiest part about these types of cases, which is trying to find a solvent defendant, somebody who has money to pay for your injuries, and getting some recovery. So the broader that you think about potential claims, the more that you can kind of spread that wealth about, the greater your chances of recovery. So we do that, we do the investigation, and then we think about maybe either filing a lawsuit straight away, going straight to court, or trying to negotiate with the other side, maybe through something like a pre-suit demand letter, where we would send a letter saying, here's what happened, here's all the evidence that we have, here are the claims we're going to bring. Do you want to talk settlement now rather than have us file a lawsuit? Sometimes we don't take that strategy because certainly certain governmental entities don't really do that kind of negotiation. They just want you to sue them and you go straight ahead with the case. But private individuals or certain businesses, people trying to protect a reputation and avoid a lawsuit, might be more interested in talking pre-suit resolution. So assuming you do file a lawsuit, we draft the lawsuit, we file it, we get it served, the other party has to file some kind of response. From there, you go into what's called the discovery phase. And discovery is where each side can solicit information from the other side. And you can send formal questions that have to be answered under oath. You can ask for certain documents that must be provided. You can subpoena non-parties to the case for certain evidence and information they might have. Most typically that's medical records, but perhaps there's surveillance footage from some business nearby that you'd want to go get. You subpoena that as part of the discovery phase. You take depositions, which I have a video on that explaining what that process is. And then after that, the case might settle in the discovery phase when everybody kind of knows what the testimony at trial is likely to be. But there may be something called a motion for summary judgment that gets filed. And I have a video on that as well. That's where they try to get the case thrown out before trial and try to win as a matter of law without a trial. Assuming that we succeed in defeating summary judgment, or as we say, get past summary judgment, then the next thing that would happen would theoretically be a trial, but something like 98% of the cases in the civil justice system will resolve without trial. Either they settle, or the plaintiff drops them, or the defense succeeds in getting it dismissed, but very, very rarely does a case actually go all the way to trial. I mean, we do see it, and we have done it, but typically it's because somebody somewhere has made a mistake in their valuation of the case in terms of liability or damages, and cases really shouldn't go to trial if the lawyers and the parties can be reasonable and get through the mediation process. That there really should be a kind of a coming together of the minds about a fair resolution of a case. Assuming that doesn't happen, you might, and you don't resolve it at mediation, then you might be one of that 2% of cases that goes to trial. But that's sort of the broad overview of the anatomy of a personal injury case and what it is and what a personal injury lawyer does. The last question that we seem to hear a lot is whether you should hire a lawyer at all. And I think the answer to that question is it really depends on your case. And where I think it may make sense not to hire a lawyer, which you're not going to hear a lot of YouTube lawyers talking about why you shouldn't hire a lawyer, but where it may make sense to try to do it on your own is if you've got, say you've been in a car wreck, you have low damages, maybe you went to an urgent care or something, but you're okay. They've made you an offer, it's low, but you really don't have much upside on your damages. Because if you take that case to a lawyer, what they're now saying is, okay, they're going to charge you a third or 40%. And the question is whether they're going to add enough value to justify their fee. So if you're one of those people, I'd say, interview your personal injury lawyer and ask them how they plan to add value to justify their fee. In our cases, we believe that we're adding value and that we're doing a good service and that we're worthwhile, and that's why we charge, contingency fees and hopefully justify ourselves. But I think there are some cases where, it is possible that you might come out ahead by just taking the offer from the adjuster and moving on with your life. I mean, that may be right for you under the circumstances. So it really does depend on your case. Okay, so that's the quick video. What is a personal injury lawyer? What do we do? Should you hire one? I hope it's been helpful. Comment down below, send me an email if we've got any questions, and we'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching.